Thank you for viewing our Connect 2020 video. We have organized this video into 5 segments to introduce you to Web Connect applications and features. The demos are delivered in full screen mode, but keep in mind that all screens will automatically render to tablet or smartphone size as they adapt to the device they are running on. It's impossible to demonstrate the entirety of Web Connect applications and features in 60 minutes or less. So, for more information, please contact us for a demo or to set up a free trial, or visit our YouTube channel to view recorded demos. Finally, here are some video markers to assist you in navigating this video content. If you need, pause a few seconds on the table of contents so you can write down where everything starts.
Hello, in this segment we're going to demonstrate a little bit about one of the most important things that a sales rep or a user of Web Connect might want to do, and that's basically look up customer information and find out more information about their accounts inside of Web Connect and Profit 21. To get to my customers that I might want to look at, there's several ways to do it. One way is simply to look at my declining and improving sales listings on the home screen. And in this case, these are customers that either have declining sales or improving sales year over year. You can change this to a 6-month change or a 3-month change as well. The idea is it's just a way to highlight customers that are either greatly improving in production or falling off. Another way to do it, though, is to simply go to the Quick Links menu at the top of the screen, and I'm going to select my customer listing. The customer listing has a lot of really neat ways to find your clientele as well, your customers out there. Again, if you know the customer ID, you can put it in just like that. You can search for customer by name, either starts with or contains. You can also go to a filters section that allows you to change between customer and prospect or both, which is the default. You can search even for last hard touch date, credit statuses, product groups, suppliers, competitors, sales reps, classes, and other things like a zip code radius. So if I want to find all the customers within a certain zip code, I can find them there as well as by city, state, county, country, and territory. So in this case, I know which customer I want to look for. Actually, it's going to be 123 Warehousing. They happen to be the very first customer listed here. And I'm going to just open them up. The customer, this is what we call our customer details screen, and there is a lot of information here. There are metrics for their yearly sales, so year over year invoice history, so you can see how they're performing. I don't know if you remember, but on our home screen, this particular customer happened to be one of my top customers. They're up about $1 million, almost $940,000 a year. So they're a well-performing customer. Really, these guys do a lot, and I use them as an example quite a bit in our demos. On the left-hand side, I can see some information about orders and order statuses. Like a lot of good, healthy customers out there, they've got some open orders. In this case, 57 open orders out there. I also noticed something that's kind of interesting with these guys. Even though they're my best customer, for some reason, they have 2 orders on hold. They also have 6 unapproved orders for $94,000 and 34 items on back order. If I wanted to click on any of these items, it would open up the details that make up those orders or order items. So it's a quick way to find that information. A lot of times it may be difficult to find that other ways. Below that, we have the customer classes. If you are set up to be able to edit these, you can actually change customer classes and assign them. And again, it updates in P21 instantaneously, automatically. Web Connect is pretty much just an extension of the Profit 21 system in many ways. Below that, we have some basic credit information, the kind of stuff that you would find inside of P21 itself. A high credit use chart, aging. These guys look really good, but this is the aging that you would find in P21 as well. To the top right, you're going to see our last hard touch date. If you're not familiar, if you're using the tasks system in P21, you can flag a task as a hard touch, and you can flag activity types, which are task types, as hard touch by default. And it's just basically means when was the last time we actually sat down with this customer. And that may not be face to face in the strange world we're living in these days, but when did I actually have the last quality engagement with this customer? Maybe that's another way to say it. In this case, it was back on January 29th of 2020, and it was a sales call. And the activity was a call, and the user that did it was me, admin, in this case. So interesting stuff. A lot of times you can tell how much you need to go see a customer by that number right there, or that date right there. Below that, we have some year-to-date sales comparison information. You can view it by calendar or fiscal, and it just basically tells you whether they're doing good or bad year-to-date. And these guys are doing great, except for, interestingly, they are doing well in COGS as well. What that means is that we're actually doing pretty good at the cost of goods sold thing, so we're making actually more profit on those guys. Below there is our declining product groups and improving product groups. If you remember on our home screen, we had the declining and improving customers. This basically just takes that same sales information for this customer and breaks it down by product group. Notice we also have this by sales discount groups and also item classes. So you can look at these, you can select different item classes and view how they may be performing with the item classes as well. So there's a lot of interesting ways to look at that here. One of my favorite examples with this particular customer with the declining sales and improving sales by product group is safety gloves. This again is my best customer. They're up almost $940,000, but with many times, as is a lot of times the case when you're working with your customers, there's still some room for sales. And if I click on safety gloves, I see something that's kind of alarming for me. First of all, in the prior 12 months, that's where all of my sales are. So I had $30,000 in sales in the prior 12 months and none in the current 12 months. If I look at it monthly, I can see pretty much what's happening very well. From May through January of the prior year, we had sales, and then starting in February of the prior year, absolutely no sales whatsoever for this particular customer. So what that's telling me is that they are not buying safety gloves from me, obviously, at any of their ship-tos, and they have a lot of them. But I also happen to know that they absolutely have to buy safety gloves. They will absolutely use them. So I know they're buying them from somewhere. If they're not buying them for me, then that could obviously mean that there's a competitor that has started selling my client safety gloves. So I would go talk to my customer about this and see if I could figure out what was going on. So neat indicator. In another segment, I'll probably show how the whole sales call system works and get that set up. More information just on this screen, though, just finding out information about this customer. If I go to my sales tab, there are a myriad of ways to look at this customer from a sales perspective. We were looking at these improving, declining product groups. If you want to see the entire list, you can click on the product group comparison. It'll give you all the information of all the product groups that are out there. Again, under sales, there's also the item comparison. Really neat report that just basically shows the prior 12 versus current 12 months at the item level. Another one, the item summary. So this is more of summary level information. It's going to show you based on a start date through today what their sales have looked like in units, sales, profit, all those types of things that are out there. There's also an item order history. This is kind of a neat report. It's just basically all the items that they bought recently in descending order, broken down by order number. So I can see that this is order 102-9182, and then these are the items that were on that order. And you can just kind of go through the whole thing. You could filter this by item, disposition if you want to. This is a great way to find things like, say, all of my back ordered items. I can find that here, just the start date as well. Other interesting information, if you're using the Web Connect remote order system, you can get to the latest remote orders and quotes that are out there, and you can see all of them here and get to those as well. You can also get to open P21 orders. They have a bunch of them as 123 warehousing. Open quotes, they have a ton of those as 123 warehousing as well. Latest orders and latest invoices, again, just screens that bring back the order and invoice information that's out there. Neat ways to find stuff. There's a pretty dynamic aging report here as well. So it's going to bring back all of the invoices and show you where they're at on the stuff. Break those all the way down. You can obviously click on any of these invoices and view an invoice detail. You can view these based on invoice date or due date, and it'll recalculate the aging on the fly based on how you select this as well. So if I do look by due date, everything is completely current, almost a little bit in the 1 to 30. By invoice date, it's a little bit different. Under the address, I can get to the customer address. If you have granted your users permissions, they would actually have the ability to edit this address. Most people don't grant the permission to edit a live customer address because they'd like accounting to take care of that. Also under the addresses, you'll find your ship to sales reps information. This is all of the ship tos this customer has associated with it. You can see the ship tos themselves. You can map these ship tos if you want, and you can also get to all of the sales reps that are associated with them. So Kenneth Pittman is the primary rep on all but one of these ship tos, so it's kind of interesting. Another interesting thing you can do with the system here is look at the contact information. These are all of the contacts that are linked to 123 warehousing, either by customer or by ship to. So if you'll see like Anita Randall here, she is linked to the customer account at 123 warehousing, that's 10315, and she's also linked to Dock 4 ship to and Plant 8 ship to for 123 warehousing. If I need to link a new contact to this customer, I can simply browse for the contact ID and link it to the customer here, either customer or ship to. If I link it to the ship to, I would need to select the ship to ID. I can create a new contact from here, and it'll automatically be linked to this customer account. So you can do all. If I need to get to a customer detail, a contact detail from here, I can simply click and open it and view all of the information about that contact as well. And there's a ton of information in there about the contacts, and I can also edit these contacts from here. So some neat stuff you can do. Another neat little thing you can do just from the customer detail screen at the contacts listing. Say I want to make a quick sales call to Chris Crosby here. I can just click the phone and it'll open up a call screen. So it's a real quick way to open this up because basically it's already told me who the customer is I'm calling. It already populates Chris Crosby as the contact, populates a sales call as the subject, and really all I need to do is go ahead and add some comments. And I'm done. Maybe change the date and time if it's a scheduled call, or if it was something I completed a while back for whatever reason. So some other neat stuff you can do. Beyond that, these are tasks. These are all tasks that live in Profit 21 that are assigned or associated with this customer. You can see the little phone icon next to each one of these. The phones are designated as sales calls in the Web Connect system. So we can see which ones of these are actually sales calls. And in fact, here's the next tab over, which is the sales call tab. These are just specifically sales calls. And it breaks them down a little differently because there are some slightly different things you want to do when you're viewing a sales call listing. Opportunities, again, this is another one of the really neat things inside of Web Connect and Profit 21. An opportunity is a great way to capture information about business you're hoping to catch for a customer. And these are all of the open opportunities for the customer. Notes, this is here as well. These are customer notes. If you grant your users permission, they'll be able to edit and add customer notes from this screen as well. There's a tab for pricing. And so this mimics a lot of the customer master inquiry screen in P21, all the information about pricing. Something that's kind of neat here on these job contracts. If I click this item right here, it's going to open up another window that will show me all the items on the contract itself as well. So that's kind of cool and shows me the pricing and all that fun stuff. I'll go back to my main screen. Okay, the next tab over is an email tab. So we have the ability to integrate with Exchange and some other systems out there, like of course Gmail, and we can show these emails inside of Web Connect. We basically sync up with them. And we're able to view these emails inside of the Web Connect system. It's pretty neat deal. If they're searchable, so you can search this information if you need to find emails or communication out there with your customers. It's a great way to be able to do it. We also will link with marketing campaigns, and in this case, this is a MailChimp integration. So we're just showing information that says these contacts within this customer worked or interacted somehow with a marketing campaign or a mail campaign that we did. Also, territories are out here. An audit trail. This is the P21 audit trail. You can get to these 3 items are not in P21. They're just in Web Connect. But you can associate your customers with product groups. You can associate them with suppliers and competitors. And that comes in handy when you're actually just trying to filter your customer listing. There is a way to simply filter it by these items, and you can bring back all your customers that maybe you've designated to a product group, a competitor, or a supplier. So that's a 15-minute overview of the Web Connect customer details screen. Thank you very much. In this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about one of the core features in the Web Connect system that a lot of people use. We call it remote ordering, and in general, it's just a way for your users to create a sales order that will go into Profit 21. There are a lot of different ways to create remote orders in Web Connect. The feature I'm going to show in this portion or this segment is the remote order form. It's the most flexible way to create a remote order. It has the most features and the most capability. To get to the remote order form, I simply select the New button at the top of the screen and the Quick Links menu, if you will, and select a New Remote Order. This will take me to a screen that we call the remote order form. The remote order form is a lot like a simplified version of a P21 order entry screen, only of course it's web-based. It lives in a browser. It'll operate on any mobile device that can get to the internet. The way you start a remote order in Web Connect with the remote order form is by simply selecting the Ship To. If you know the Ship To ID, you can simply type it in at this point. However, if you don't, you can always search. You can search by Ship To name or customer name, starts with or contains. If you just click the search button, it'll bring back all the Ship Tos that are available to you as a user in alphabetical order. I'm going to go ahead and select 123 Warehousing Doc 2 and start a remote order for them. Notice that it brings back some mandatory notes. These are order notes in P21 that have been deemed mandatory for this customer when they create an order. So one is a blanket PO. They have a blanket PO out there, BR549-A, and then a second one, do not sell blue widgets. So these are useful things that will alert your users as you have them set up in P21 of things they should know when they create this order. So I've got the Ship To selected, and from this point I can go ahead and add a few other things to the order header if I want to. I can go ahead and put in a PO number if I want to, the BR549. I'm going to skip it for right now. A job name if I want. Notice it went ahead and pre-selected a contract, 123 PPG. That's because this customer is set to always use contract pricing in P21, and this is the contract it determined we needed for that. Also, we've got terms set to net 45. I have a user permission out there that allows me to change this. However, you can lock this down and it'll be the Ship To default for this particular customer. A few other interesting tidbits about this quote or order. I say it's quote or order because up here there's a checkbox that I can check or uncheck to make it a quote or an order at any time. Interestingly, you can lock this down for each user so that you can lock them into being able to create only quotes per instance. The same thing with import approved. That can be changed on a per user basis, and the ability to create an RMA. Again, user permission out there. So the most straightforward way to add an item to this order or quote would be to simply type it in here. If I know the item ID, I can type it in and go. So in this case, I have an item that I sell all the time, a DAQ-6, and I will enter that item in and click Tab, and it'll go out and find the information in P21. It gives me back the item description, the extended description. It defaults to a quantity of 1. The unit of measure defaults to each, which is the default sales unit. If there were more, of course, I could change that here. Interestingly, there actually is a permission to be able to change the unit of measure from the default. And that came up for a number of reasons where people were trying to keep people from selling units of measure other than the default out there. The pricing, this is P21 pricing, so it's going to use pricing libraries, last margin pricing. However this customer is set up to work in P21, it's going to bring back the same price in Web Connect. Quantity, obviously it defaulted to 1, but I can change this. I'm going to go ahead and make it a 2 because we want 2 of those sanders at this point. Notice that it adjusts the extended price. There's also a permission to be able to change the unit price. I have that turned on for myself right now, so in this case I'm going to go ahead and move this up to 210. Now when I save the item in, it's going to go ahead and add this item to the remote order. And remember, this order only lives inside of Web Connect right now, so we can do pretty much anything we want to with it. We can add items, we can remove items, and think of it as a workspace where you can do all of this setup for the order before it actually goes into Profit 21. Something that's interesting on this line for me is that we don't have any available on this location, and so the source location is 100 and we don't have any available for this. I can come to the line item itself and look over here and see what we've got going on. On this side I've got item info. So this is again the information. If I had multiple locations for this item, it would show up here, but it shows me the on-hand allocated back order and some costing. Costing is another permission that you can set your users to be able to see, and which costing that they can see. So I can see I definitely don't have any of these. I can come over here to my item order history. This is interesting because it tells me that 123 Warehousing buys this item. I can see it's always been $208.50 for as long back as we have sold that to them here. So it's interesting. So I'll be going up on the pricing a little bit here. The next tab over is my PO tab. It'll tell me if there's any open purchase orders for this item. There are none found right now. If I do have any substitutes, I can click the sub item and it'll tell me if I have any substitutes right here. There are none for the Detroit sander, so that's okay. If this were an assembly, which obviously a sander is not an assembly, you would be able to see the component information. There are none here. Last but certainly not least is the item order notes box. So I can put in a topic here. I'm going to say rush order and put in a note, whatever it might be. Notice that this mandatory checkbox is here. It's checked and I can't change it. Yet another permission for each user that's out there. If I could change this, I could uncheck that. But as long as it's going to stay mandatory, this will become a pop-up note inside of P21. And when I add the item note in Web Connect, notice that it actually shows up here on the line item. So you can actually see it really, really quickly and easily on this part of the screen. I could add another note if I want to at this point as well, but I'm just going to close this out. Can go ahead and edit the note if I want to as well, but I'll leave it all alone for right now. So I said that was the most straightforward way to add an item to an order. There are definitely other ways to do it. One of my favorites are the bulk add item options over here. So I can add from sales history. I can add from an existing quote or order that's in Profit 21 right now. I can add items from contracts, so we know these guys have a contract out there, so I can just grab any item off the contract, which makes it very quick to do that. I can also add from something called our quick order forms and quick order templates. These are listings of items and inventory that are maintained inside of Web Connect, either associated with a customer or not. So you can just create these sub listings inside of Web Connect. A great example, if I go to my templates over here, I've got a quick order template out here that I can use. I've got a couple of them actually called specials. So you can create specials, you can create dead stock, all kinds of different ways you can add items from these templates. So just kind of give you an idea, I'm going to grab plant 19 lines for whatever reason. Find the items that are on here, and here are items that I've gone ahead and associated with plant 19 lines, whatever that might mean. So imagine just being able to break your inventory down like this. So to add items from this bulk feature, I just select which quantity I want for the items that I want and select add selected items. It'll go through, it'll calculate some pricing for me real quick. It'll look at all of the information going on behind the scenes and add these items to the order. Notice that it's flagged these in kind of a light blue at this point, or kind of a steel gray, whichever you want to see. And I can't add these specific items from this form to the order a second time this way. So if I go back to my order, I see these items are on the order. my order total has gone up to $440.57. If I needed to change pricing or things along those lines, I can do that here as well. Other interesting, it works pretty much the same way from sales history, quotes and orders, anything along those lines. It's just going to give you a listing of items. So if I look at my sales history, here's my item sales history for this customer, ordered by total sales in dollars. But again, I can look at this at total lines, total units, things like that. The idea is that if the customer is buying these items fairly regularly, that we should be able to, this might be the item that they're looking for. This can be really helpful if you have a user that, let's say you have a lot of inventory items that are similar, and you don't know exactly which one the customer wants without having to go through a bunch of research. You can simply look here, figure out which one it is they buy the most of, and go from there. Some interesting filtering capabilities. I can filter this by item ID. Of course, that works with wildcards, product groups, suppliers, things along those lines. Again, to go ahead and add these items to the order, just select what you want by putting quantities in. Click the Add Selected Items button. It will go out and ping P21 and try to find pricing and all that other information and add them to the order. Now I have a $1,106 order. So I go ahead and look at the order details, and here are those items on here. This is interesting here. Notice that these two items come back with a cost that's higher than the unit price. And this is a P21 calculated price. And I see that I'm actually at a 20% loss on profit on these items. So I want to show you something that's kind of a cool feature that you can do in Web Connect with this. If I go to my contract number over here, I'm going to deselect my P21 contract. When I do this, it's going to go through and it's going to recalculate all the pricing on this order for me. And I wanted to see if it would change. Yeah, it went ahead and changed these two items and took them off of contract pricing, and all of a sudden I've got a profit margin on here. So this is an indicator to me that I have a contract that is set up incorrectly with some fixed pricing that's kind of gotten antiquated. I might want to take a look at that. But at any time during this order, you can change this from contract pricing to not contract pricing. You can also turn it into a quote if you want to, or uncheck it and let it be an order. A few of the other interesting features on this remote order screen are under shipping. There's the ship to information here. You can grant your users the ability to change the ship to address. Most people don't, but some people we have do. Also the ship info screen. This is really neat. In P21, you're going to have some defaults for delivery instructions, freight code, carrier, packing basis, things like that for each one of your ship tos. If I uncheck this checkbox, I can edit these based on the permissions that I have inside of Web Connect. So each one of these is its individual permission. So if you just want to give your users the ability to select a different freight code or packing basis, but not the carrier, you always want the carrier to be the ship to default, then you can set that up if you want to, and they can only change, say, the packing basis or add delivery instructions. So in this case, I would leave it as partial, but go on from there. Customer, of course, I can see a little information about the customer. I can see customer notes that are here, which are kind of handy to have at times. And here's a neat feature. Opportunities. So if you're using opportunities, which we're going to cover in another segment in this presentation, you know how powerful they can be. In Web Connect, you can actually link this remote order to an opportunity, which is kind of neat. We've expanded the opportunity system to be able to do that. You can also add classes here. We set a default class for our login inside of Web Connect to be VMI orders, and no default class too, but I could override these and change those based on my permissions. You can also get to order notes, so maybe I need to add a header note to the order. Ship, please. Everybody wants that, right? We'll save that in, and now we have an order note. Once I'm pretty happy with this order and I've got everything put on here that I want, there are a couple of different actions that I can take. I can confirm the order, and when I confirm it, it'll automatically go ahead and push this into P21. But another thing that I can do, I can simply go to my menu and email this. So maybe I just want to go ahead and send this out to my customer and have them take a look at it and tell me about other things they may want here, just proof it before I send it in. I can do that. I can just email it. Now, If I click this, it opens a pop-up where I can put a subject in, a little bit of content. If I've added any contacts to the order, I can copy any of the contacts, or I can just email it to myself, add some other notes on it, and send it on out that way. I've gone ahead and taken the time to print out a quick one of these or send myself one so we don't have to wait for the mail. And this is what it looks like when you actually receive the order. So this Web Connect, do more with P21. Obviously, this is going to be your logo for your organization. It's going to look like, in this case, this is an order. It would be a quote acknowledgement, word quote, that type of thing. But we try to make this look like a little bit like a Web Connect, or I'm sorry, a P21 order acknowledgement. It has a lot of the same things on there. Very simple, easy to read. We can customize this quite a bit to your needs as well. If I am ready to go with it, I'll just go ahead and click confirm. If I click confirm, it's basically going to pop up a thing that says, are you ready to go ahead and send this in? I say okay, and then it'll go out and do some validation. Notice that it gave me a little warning over here. This order requires a PO. So this setting pulls from P21, and it can actually be secondarily enforced from Web Connect, which means that even if the customer does not require a PO inside of Profit 21, you can make it to where the user is always required to put in a PO no matter what inside of Web Connect. So it's just a secondary safety mechanism. So I'll put in PO number 1 and try it again. Click confirm, say okay, and basically it's going to go through and it's calculating, and it put this order out here. This is my remote order listing. So it's got all the orders that I have out there that I'm working on or that I've sent into Profit 21 and their various statuses. Here's my order I just put in with PO number 1. I can see it came from the order form. It's sent. If this were received by now, I would already probably see a P21 order number that I could click and view that order inside of Web Connect. I can see its approved status, its P21 complete status, its P21 validation status. Maybe this order went on hold for some reason. The total number of lines and the total unit price, or total cumulative price for the order that's out there. More than likely, this order would be received within about 5 or 10 seconds. That's what most of our clients have set up. If I do, I can still open up the order and work with it a little bit. I can take a look at it from here, re-email it. It'll open the thing up from here. If I need to send another email out, I can still do that. If you're an admin, you can even reconfirm the order and send it in a second time. So anyway, this was a quick review of the Web Connect remote order screen. Thank you. In this session, we're going to demonstrate some of the sales call capabilities of the Web Connect system. And at the end, I'm going to show you a really interesting way that you can record an opportunity based off of that sales call that we've just created. A little bit of background about what a sales call is inside of Web Connect. A sales call is basically a task that's inside of P21 that's got some extra capabilities. So to demonstrate that quickly, I'll show you the difference between a task and a sales call in the main screens. So if I go to my quick links menu, if I go down to about the middle bottom, I'll find an option for tasks. So if I select tasks, it's going to take me to the main task listing. Now these are all of the tasks that are open inside of Profit 21 right now. There are ways that I can filter this and search for it, but the most important thing that I want you to see right this second is the fact that some of them have phones next to them and some of them do not. Now if I open up a sales, one of these, even though it says call, and I click it open, this is just a task, and it opens it up in what we call our task detail screen. It looks a little bit like the task screen inside of P21. You can link it to transactions. You can assign it to someone. You've got contacts. We've added something called attachments, which lets you open up documents linked to the task. And same thing with follow-ups. This is a Web Connect extension that lets you create follow-ups and track those through Web Connect. But it's not the same as a sales call screen. So if I hit my back button and go back, and if I select one of these that has a phone on it, it opens this up at a completely different screen. And in this screen, we have a lot more options over here. Not only do we have the assign to and contacts, but we also have a call location. Because all sales calls have to be associated with the customer, we can link in customer notes. see other tasks for the customer, view and edit even customer contacts. So these are all the contacts that exist for this particular customer, and we can actually edit them on the fly in this sales call screen. We can also see ship tos. We have attachments, kind of like in the task screen, and we can do follow-ups. So there's a lot of capability in a sales call that's not in a task. Oh, I forgot to mention, you can also link sales calls to unlimited number of product groups and suppliers. This helps a lot later on when you're trying to figure out what people have been calling about and what the success rate of those are. Suppliers can be really interesting here because it's actually possible to link these calls to suppliers. And sometimes, and several of our clients have told us that they need to provide insight to their suppliers about the calls that their reps are making, and also opportunities that come with that. So this is one of the ways you can do that. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways to create the sales calls that are out there. The first way is just to click the New button and then to select Sales Call. And what this does is this takes you to the same screen we're on right now. This just happens to be a new one. And I call this the main sales call screen. This is the one that has most of the capabilities in it. You can do pretty much anything from this screen that are related to sales call. So I put in a subject, test sales call. It's already, selected this customer 10315, which is 123 warehousing. And the reason it did that is that we came from a screen, we actually came from another sales call that was for 123 warehousing. And so it anticipated and said, hey, you were looking at something related to 123 warehousing. You probably would like to start a call from them. We try to do that in Web Connect whenever we can to save people from having to type and add things in. So when I have a title on here, we already have a customer selected. I could select a contact if I want to. I could select a transaction. It already picked a call type for me called call, but I could change it from that to customer or visit. I think I will change it to visit here. It pre-selected a call date that's pretty much around today, but if I want to, I can move this over and set it up for 6 p.m. And some other, I wouldn't make it 6, let's do it about 3. There we go. So at this point, I can simply save the call, and it's going to go ahead and add it. There really wasn't that much that I had to do in order to get a call to go this way. However, in most cases, you'd add some kind of a call note, some kind of description of the things that happened for you. And if you want, you can go ahead and define some product groups like we mentioned earlier. So we'll go ahead and grab, let's work with adhesives today. And so I'm just going to do 5,000. Let's do 50,000. That sounds good on adhesives. I can add multiples, so maybe I want to go also adhesives aerosol, but I'm going to make this one for 5,000 for sure. Add that one in. So now I've got a couple of product groups on here. I can do the same thing for suppliers. Maybe I want to add in 3M or someone. So let's grab 3M and make them a $3,000 portion of this. By the way, we do make it possible to create a sales call from an order screen. I'll show you that in a few minutes, and it will bring all of those product groups and suppliers over and total them up for you, so you don't have to do that, and give you a total call value that way as well. So some neat stuff you can do there. Now I'm going to show you what this looks like real quick in the call log. So let me go back to quick links, and I'm going to go ahead and go to my sales call log. And I think we set this thing up for, here it is, my 3 o'clock on the 28th test sales call. And it's linked to 123 warehousing. It's got a call note on here. That's the little notation that I put on there. You can choose to view those or not. And it's a follow-up visit with the customer. So if I go, notice that it has a $55,000 product value and a $3,000 supplier value. I was mentioning earlier, you can do some neat things with this. And so, if I want to filter by suppliers, say, show me anything I've got going on with 3M, or heck, 3M Automotive for that matter, you can add multiple here. Then I can search, and it's going to bring back all of these. Notice it has $3,000 supplier. So that's pretty neat. It lets me go ahead and see everything that I've got going on with specific suppliers or product groups out there. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to go with abrasives. Adhesives, that's right. Select that, and it's going to bring back a different subset of calls at that point. So I'm going to show you another quick way to record a sales call as well. I mentioned that you could do this from an order or a quote. So there's some real advantages to doing this. I'm going to show you real quick. I'm going to go find an order. this one right here, and I'm going to open it up. And notice this order has several line items on it and other interesting things. It's a pretty good order, 4,201. Imagine that I wanted to go ahead and create an opportunity, or I'm sorry, a sales call for this order. And I just wanted to go ahead and talk to these guys about it. What I can do is just go to the Tasks button and then select a new sales call. And when I do that, it's going to go ahead and start a sales call for me with all of these, with this value of $4,201. If I look at it, these are all the product groups that were on the original order. And if I look at the suppliers, these were the suppliers that were on the order. And it totals up to the same amount. So I can put some comments on here. Nice order, or whatever it might be. Maybe I need to call them and talk to them about something that I saw in this particular order, and I want to go with that. All I really have to do now is click Save, and I have the new sales call. I mean, pretty much everything is set up for me at this point. It even brings over a title, which was the original order number. And if I go back to my call log at this point, I'll see that it is this call right here, this a sales call 1246 for order number 1028169 for $4,201.11. Now, there are a couple of other ways you can create sales calls in Web Connect. One of the most popular is this button right up at the top of every screen. It's called the Quick Sales Call button. If I click this, it'll open up a very simple screen where I can start looking for a customer. So in this case, I type 123 and it starts for 123 warehousing. I can then select a contact if I want to. It defaults the call subject to sales call. I can just put in some comments. I wanted to show you real quick also the ability to quickly create an opportunity. So remember that sales call that we created just a couple of minutes ago off of the order? Let's say that I've made this sales call, it went great, and now I want to create a Web Connect / P21 opportunity. I can just open up the sales call, click the new opportunity button. It's going to bring all of the information that I saved about the sales call and accumulated over time to the opportunity. I basically just need to select an opportunity type. It's going to bring over the opportunity size. The success probability is defaulted. I can select next step date and anticipated close date if I wish to do that. And click next, and all of that information is saved with the opportunity. If you've ever used opportunities in P21, you'll know that that would have taken a tremendous more amount of time than doing it this way. So again, a quick way to create the opportunity brings over everything else you need with it as well.
iOS and Android native apps for P21 offer companies involved with field service or vendor-managed inventory the ability to easily support customers. Barcode scanning features allow users to quickly build orders or maintain equipment records and locations at customer sites. The Mobile Sales Native app is a fast and effective way for sales reps to plan and record sales calls on the go. All native apps for P21 have offline modes for scenarios where internet access is not available. Add native apps to your overall customer focus strategy. Our latest application, Keen, provides a platform for bringing data and people together and enabling true collaboration while reducing the need for less efficient communication methods such as meetings and emails. Insights can occur anywhere and by anyone in an organization. Whether an insight is originated by an individual or through brainstorming with colleagues, keen insights can be captured and combined with data and analysis and shared to uncover meaning in and an increased understanding of key business issues and opportunities. Harness the power of communications already taking place in your organization and bring people together to leverage insights and develop and pursue keen interests for a variety of use cases. From sales team strategy meetings and pipeline reviews to brainstorming sessions and more, enable teams to discuss, analyze, and capture key decisions and review results. Utilize keen interests to embed communications with insights and linked data and files. Search and analyze results over time so that key decisions and insights can be harvested for future learning and process improvements. Share your interest with others and collaborate to support and improve business strategies and sales processes and grow a unified knowledge base. To learn more about Keen, join our August 6th P21 User Group webinar. Contact us for a demo or a free trial, or visit our YouTube channel to view recorded demos. If you would like more information on any Web Connect application, contact us to schedule a guided tour or to set up a free trial using your meaningful P21 data.